we look at the property market, the real estate sector. We look at property finance, government regulations, projects, what developers are doing, what the mortgage sector is also doing that is unique and, of course, important too. How we will be investing in the real estate sector this year. And today, I have representatives of Infinity Trust Mortgage Bank with me in the studio, and together we're going to be looking at what we started last week. Remember that we had representatives of the mortgage bank with us in the studio last week, and we're talking about how to access part of your pension fund to get a mortgage to finance the acquisition of a property. So we're going to do that for the first half of the show, and then of course the second part of the show will open up our mailbox to take 3 important questions that of course have been sent to us by some of our listeners. We have Ibrahim Razak from Sulere who sent in a question concerning due diligence. I'm going to read out the question on the second half of the show. Also Femi from Aja sent in a question about land title, basically on the issue of excision. And then of course we have Bankole from Ajangbadi who talked about encroachment and what he should do about encroachment of his land somewhere in Badagry. Those are the 3 questions that we'll be taking on the second half of the show. But now let's concentrate on what Infinity Trust Mortgage Bank are for us, especially if you're a pension fund contributor and you want to access part of your funds to acquire a property. That's a new one from Pencom, and I think Infinity Trust Mortgage Bank is one of the mortgage banks listed to help pension fund contributors access a part of their pension fund contribution to buy a property. I have here with me in the studio Mr. Anthony Obichere, who is the Head Business Development Lagos Office, and also Ikalo Onus, who is a Business Development Officer from Infinity Trust Mortgage Bank. It's nice to have you in the studio, Mr. Obichere and Onus.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sahid, for having us.
All right, let's start this way. What is this new thing about having access to a part of your pension fund contribution to buy a property? How does it work?
Okay, before I start, let me first of all introduce our Infinity Trust Mortgage Bank.
The mortgage bank itself. Okay.
Thank you. Infinity Trust Mortgage Bank is a national licensed mortgage bank that has branches in some part of Nigeria, and we have been consistent in creating mortgages for 20 years now.
Wow, 20 years, that's huge. 2 decades, yeah.
Can have your 25 withdrawal as Infinity is when you come and you have your retirement savings. We can help to profile you.
Okay.
And once your loan has been approved, you kickstart the process of having your 25% as your equity contribution.
Okay. All right. Again, the issue of profile, when you say you want to profile, I'm also going to get you
underwriting to take this mortgage.
Okay. So when you say 25%, let me talk to Onus now. 25% of what you've contributed, or can it be anticipated contribution of what you have done?
No,
basically.
Okay, 25% of what you have contributed thus far.
Okay.
To that moment that you're applying for that mortgage.
Okay.
So it's not what you intend to contribute or anticipate to contribute.
So what you've done so far.
Yeah, what you have done so far.
Okay.
So let me just add to what Tony said. This 25% is to enable people who are pension contributors to, make up their equity.
Okay.
There are a lot of people who work and they don't have this service readily available to make up a certain percentage they need for their equity. So that 25% is to ease that body. And they have this fund they have saved as pension fund, so they can access that 25% to access to make up their equity
contribution. Yeah. Okay. So again, let's break it down. You and I know what equity contribution is. Well, I assume that there are pension fund contributors who don't know what equity contribution is. Yes, some might know, but let's assume that there are people listening to us who don't know what equity contribution is. Can we break down into simple language for ordinary persons to understand? Yeah.
Okay. Equity contribution is regarded as your commitment.
Okay.
That property
to buying a property.
Yeah, your commitment is your equity contribution.
Okay.
That initial deposit you will do is your equity contribution.
Okay, so it depends. So are there standards to equity contribution? Because again, when you say it's the commitment, is there a specific amount that can be commitment, or there ways this is calculated?
Minimum of 30% equity contribution.
Okay.
That is your commitment. That is your equity.
All right. Now, I like to explain this to some of our listeners who are already contributors to NHF and who are also contributors to the pension, because to pension fund. The part of the salary, pension fund is deducted. NHF is deducted. How is this different from NHF?
Okay, pension is different from National
Housing Fund. Okay.
National Housing Fund is what gives you the right to apply for if you're a contributor, it gives you the right to apply for NHF. But your pension is different because the fund you have saved, from there they can give you 25% to form part of your equity, as case may be, depending on the property value you want to buy vis-a-vis what you have saved in your pension.
Now, when we talk about property, I know that the NHF, for example, you cannot access it to buy land. It has to be a house. Is it the same thing with this? Or can a pension fund contributor access this 25% and commit it to buying land?
No.
It has to be a house.
Yes,
okay.
it has to be okay, it has to be a property.
Okay, a developed property.
Yes. If you even look at the already standard from Pentcom, is you are using this 25% to form part of your equity to buy a property to live in.
Okay.
I don't know if you understand.
I'm with you. Yes, I'm with you.
So it's not for you. In short, even the bank is to give an indemnity letter to your PFA that this money that they are giving you as 25% of what you have contributed so far is going to be used to purchase a property.
Okay.
So you cannot access your 25% from any other thing apart from buying a property.
Now, is there location restriction to this thing? Like, okay, it has to be in this part of Nigeria, or it can be anywhere. Just identify the property and then.
Yeah, it can be anywhere depending the land registry of that state.
Okay.
If they have a good land registry that will do our search and confirm that this property
has proper title.
Proper title.
Okay.
We don't have any.
So it can be any part of the country. So far they have a proper lands registry, and then you can verify the status of title on the property.
Yes.
Okay. Now, so far, how would you say Nigerians have been receiving this? That's number one. Number two, do you think this somehow would help to reduce the housing deficit in the country? Because I used to talk about the NHF, in the books, looks very nice, sweet, and all of that. But a lot of people who have tried to access the NHF will tell you that there are a lot of bottlenecks, especially when you are not up there. For the low-income earners, it has always been difficult, really, to get the NHF to buy any property. Apart from the fact that there are so many processes and stages to getting the NHF, what of availability of properties too that can fit, the buying power of the low-income earner. So the question is, because if you say housing deficit, I think we are all agreed that the deficit is more with low income earners. Yes. Do you think this particular initiative from Pencom would help to resolve the housing deficit amongst low and middle income earners?
Okay, let me quickly tell you that it's welcome development and the public is
receiving it well.
Receiving it well. Because there are a lot of persons who have this income they earn monthly and they don't have pool of savings to do their equity.
Okay.
But their income can actually service a loan.
Good. Okay. So what they are earning can repay.
Yes.
But that huge sum of equity is their problem.
Yes,
okay.
Is their problem. So now Pentcom has bring up a policy that you can access your 25%, to make up that your equity. Let me give you an instance where a senior probably you are buying a property. Let's say you have a savings of 40 million as your pension savings already on ground. Accessing 25% means you can get 10 million naira. And if you are buying a property, let's say 35 million naira, you already have 10 million
to deposit as your equity. Okay, so it solves the problem of equity.
Yes, and when you now come to the bank and we look at what you are earning currently, and we see that, this person can actually take the balance of the loan and service it from your income. You can see that person can actually buy a property without really having a savings on ground.
Okay.
And without coughing out the huge sum in his pocket to buy the property actually. You have pension coming in for you as equity. You have mortgage coming in for you to pay off the balance. So Nigerians are actually receiving this policy very well.
Okay.
And it's relatively simpler in the sense that when you come in, we profile you, we tell you, okay, this is
how much you can access,
access as your based on your income, and this is the contribution you have thus far, and this is what you can get from it. So from there you can actually draw a line to, okay, this is the kind of property I can buy.
Okay,
from what I'm earning and what I have seen so far.
Okay, I've heard that you have a special arrangements in your Lagos office and I think other offices across the country, where you attend specifically to this initiative of PenCom, you know, special arrangement, days when people come and all of that. Can you take us through that arrangement from Infinity Trust, where people listening to us who are pension contributors who are interested, what can they do, when can they come, what's the arrangement, what's the process and procedure?
Okay, for us in Infinity, because of our zeal to create mortgages for people, and based on this that PenCom has just brought up, yeah. Yes, we have organized every Thursday by 10 o'clock.
Okay.
People who want to know more about having their 25% from PenCom to
how to go about it,
part of their equity. That's when we speak to them,
okay,
to make sure that they understand it very well, so that when they kickstart the process, they will not have a hurdle on the road.
Okay, before we go on with this conversation, because there are still a number of questions I want to ask you. So if you're a pension fund contributor, you are interested in this initiative, access 25% of your contribution thus far to finance the acquisition of a property. Finance again means you can use this as part of your equity contribution. You have an income that can finance repayment, for a period of time, but the equity is a problem. Infinity Trust Mortgage Bank have been listed as one of the banks to facilitate this, and they have a Thursday deadline with you where you can go into their office every 10 o'clock in the morning to get to know about how to go about this. But it would be nice for you to give us your office address here in Lagos, and then the phone numbers. I'm sure after the show that they can reach you on. We'll take those ones again, but let's just have your office address now and the phone numbers. And before the end of the show with you, I'll also make sure that you give the numbers again and the office address. But let's just have the office address, the numbers now.
Okay, for those listening, our office address is number 28 Ilupeju Bypass.
Okay. Ilupeju Bypass. Yeah. Here in Lagos, Ilupeju, Lagos. What are the phone numbers?
Okay, the phone numbers you can reach us on 090 87
12 17 09. Okay.
We have another number 090 87 12 17. The lines are always open.
Okay, they are always open. Now let's look at procedures again. Your customer service in Infinity Trust and all of that. It's interesting to know that you've been listed. I would have loved to ask you how many mortgage banks have been listed. Why do you think you've been listed? What was the track record, especially when it comes to helping people own a property? How well would you say Infinity Trust have been able to do that?
Okay, I said it earlier that we are 20 years,
okay,
and we have been consistent in creating mortgages for our customer. And based on this new policy also, all our staff has been trained that the moment you step into Infinity and mention that you want to access your 25% equity on PenCom, from customer service desk to the last person you will meet, should be able to explain the processes to you.
Okay, all right. I know we are here for pension contribution basically, but I like to talk about the NHF too, because a lot of listeners too are contributors, who are also interested. Do you also facilitate that? How well do you do that? I would want Onus to talk about the NHF and how you help people with that too.
Yeah, we facilitate NHF very well.
Okay.
So if you, first of all, you need to be a contributor to an NHF
policy,
NHF, before you can access it. So we are also part of those mortgage banks
approved for NHF.
Yes, approved for NHF. So you can walk in and also ask the customer service wherever you meet in Infinity Trust Mortgage Bank that, I want to know the process of NHF. How do I go about it? Then we'll bring everything to you, and those hurdles you need to cross, the title, the amount you can access, it's maximum of 15 million for now. So the amount you can assess, the interest rate, the property must be mortgage permissible in terms of title and documentation and all that. So we'll take you through the process.
Okay, all right. So if it's pension fund contribution and 5% for equity contribution, Infinity Trust Mortgage Bank will take you through the process. And if it's NHF you are interested into, they will take you through the process. Again, if you are listening to me, listening to us, and you are interested in this particular policy, you are a pension fund contributor, because I need to emphasize that if you are not contributing to pension fund, don't bother with this policy. You are a contributor and you are interested in accessing 25% of what you have contributed so far as equity contribution to buying a property. Infinity Trust Mortgage Bank, every Thursday 10 o'clock in the morning. You can always go there at number 28 Ilupeju Bypass in Ilupeju here in Lagos. You'll be guided through the entire process, and of course you should be on your way to owning a property with this particular policy. And then if you want to reach them after the show, you still want to talk to them more about what you can do. It could be about this pension fund contribution, it could be about NHF, and I know it could also be about direct mortgage. Yes. You just want to borrow money to buy a property. I'm sure you can always still talk to them. I'll repeat the phone numbers. You could just take your biro to keep these numbers and reach them after the show. The first number is 090-871-21709. That is 090-871-21709. The second number 090-871-21717. 090-871-21717. Well, that's all from this segment of the show. I've been joined in the studio by representatives of Infinity Trust Mortgage Bank, Mr. Anthony Obichere, who is the head business development office, business development in the Lagos office, and Mr. Ikalo Onus, who is a business development officer. And of course, together we've been talking about the pension fund contribution and how you can access a part of it to own a property. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, I will hope to see you more on the show, talking to Nigerians on how to access funds to buy their own property. All right, we'll be right back after this short break, and we'll be going to the second segment of the show, where we'll be taking questions. Yes, 3 questions from our listeners who have sent in different questions to us on different topics about property purchase and land acquisition in Lagos and different parts of the country. We'll be right back after this break.